Hello! Today we're going to talk about how to manage our nerves when we have to talk in public. And first of all, we need to understand why we get so nervous when we have to talk in front of others. They say that public speaking is one of the main fears of human beings. And I think that the reason for that, or one of the reasons for that, is that when we are talking in front of others, we are exposing ourselves to judgment, to potential failure, to the fact that as human beings, we want to belong to a group. And by being in the spotlight, we're asking the group to decide whether we are worthy members of the group or not. And all these atopic fears come together to generate all that nervousness that at times we may feel when we want to talk in public. Now, what can we do about it? During this video, we're going to see some strategies that we can apply that will help us to manage our nerves when talking in public. First of all, we need to understand that preparation is key. And why am I saying this? Because the more prepared we are, the less likely we are to fail in our mind. So preparation not only will be important for the delivery of the speech itself and for the impact and the result of the speech, but it will actually help us as the first tool we have to lower our nervousness and calm our nerves. The reason for this is that if I know that I know my things, it will be easier to access that confident part of me that is not scared. The way in which we can do this is to prepare the speech effectively, dedicate time to that preparation phase, also building an iceberg of knowledge underneath the speech so that we know much more than what we're going to share, and rehearsing our speech so that we have already incurred some potential dynamics and obstacles before we actually do it for real. The second strategy is to mind your mindset. The reason why I say this is that when we are focused on not being judged, our attention is directed at what we will receive back from the audience rather than being directed at what we are there to give. The simple shift in mindset can make a huge difference. I remember the first time I had to talk in front of 1,000 people, and even though I was an experienced public speaker, I had been speaking in public for years and years and years, that time, it was the first time it was 1,000 of them all at once. And at a certain point, just before starting my speech, I felt that they were putting the microphone on me and they were preparing me. And I started feeling a bit of butterflies, a bit, oh my God. And in that moment, I realized that my focus wasn't what will they think? How will they receive me? Will they like me? It was all focused on what I would get from them thanks to my speech. So I was like, wait, Julia, you're here to give value. So those who need to receive that value will receive it. Just focus on giving the value that you can give to the best of your abilities today. And when I shifted, my emotional state completely changed. I wasn't there anymore as a little girl hoping to receive approval, but I was there as a professional that was there to give value to others. And that changed my emotional state in an instant. There are also some very practical techniques that you can use in order to calm your nervous system just before a speech. One that I really love is progressive muscle relaxation. I can't say it, as you see, and so usually I call it tensor and tensor. Because how does it work? You basically tense your muscles as much as you can. All the muscles, now you can't see, but like my fists are tense, my shoulders are tense, everything, legs, everything tense as much as possible. And once you've done that, you release the tension as slowly as possible. And as you do that, of course, you can accompany that with some deep breathing. All that tension that you had accumulated in different parts of your body are released together with the rest. And so what happens is that you end up being more relaxed than you would have anticipated before. Very often we carry some tension in our body. We don't even know where, how. You may notice it at times in the shoulders when you do this exercise, because when you try to take a deep breath in and breathe out, you realize that your shoulders weren't as relaxed as you thought they were. or in the jaw. So there's parts of our body where we store some tension without even noticing it. And so by doing this exercise, we can release it very well. Another way in which you can relax in a very practical and quick manner is to ground yourself. There's many different strategies that you can apply to ground yourself. For example, you can take deep breaths that you feel in your belly. You can also do 3-2-1, which is a technique that I love because it's very immediate. And it consists in closing your eyes for a moment and focusing on 3 things that you could see in front of you before closing your eyes and try to picture them, and 2 things that you can hear, and 1 thing that you can feel. And by doing this, you're starting from the outside, from what's external, what you can see, that's the furthest you can go, then what you can hear, and then what you can feel. And by doing that, you're bringing yourself back to you. And so you can access your resources again. It's very quick. Some people also do 5-4-3-2-1, where they add other senses, but the actual tool you use matters relatively. The important principle is that it's important to ground yourself. Otherwise, you won't be able to access the resources that you have. You won't be able to remember all the things that you've prepared. You won't be able to enjoy it as much as you can. And then remember that managing your nerves when speaking in public is a skill that you can develop by practicing it. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Find opportunities for yourself to speak in front of others, whether it is a small group of friends, a family gathering, or a huge stage with a lot of people. There's platforms that allow you to do that. There's clubs like Toastmasters, for example, is the first example that comes to mind, that allow you to do that. Just make sure that you put yourself out there and do it. Because the more you do it, the more your brain becomes used to doing it and facing the potential obstacles that may come your way. And very often also, your brain can realize that a lot of the imaginary obstacles that you can picture before talking in public are actually just that, imaginary. That being said, make sure that you start applying at least one of these steps so that it can add value to you in the moment in which you need to share your message in front of others. You feel that the tension is arising. If this video has been valuable for you, leave a like, share it with someone that could benefit from it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.